Okay, I'm going to just talk you through the approximation, rounding and number bonds bubble. So decimal places and significant figures are the first ones. For decimal places, you start counting after the decimal point. For significant figures, you start counting at the first non-zero term. So what does that mean? If you look at my wee examples I have here, I'll do both together. 325.99, one decimal place. So I start counting here. The 9 tells me to round up. This 9 tells me to round this 9 up. So it becomes 326.0. For significant figures, I'll start counting here at the 3. The 2 tells me to do nothing. Because you have got two figures, the 2 and the 5, before the decimal point, you must put in zeros. So that becomes 300. Both answers should be roughly the same. Look at the next one. Two decimal places. Decimal point 1, 2. The 5 tells me to round up, so that becomes a 3. So it's 57.33. Over here, significant figures start at the 5. So 1, 2. The 3, which is the next figure, tells me to do nothing. So my answer is 57. I don't have to put any zeros in because I have no gaps between the before the decimal point here. And this one. Decimal places start after decimal point 1, 2. The 7 tells me it goes, sorry, mistake there. So 1, 2. So the 7 tells me that should be 0.06, so that one's wrong. That should be 0.06. Over here, two significant figures. I start counting at the 5, 5, 7. The 8 tells me to go up 1, so it's 0.058. Now, down the bottom, estimation and number bounds. Estimation, you usually round each number to one significant figure. So to estimate this, you would write that as 0.5, 400 divided by 0.05. So that's half of 400, which is 200, divided by that. If you remember, you have to divide by a decimal. You're not allowed to divide by a decimal. So you've got to move that decimal point 2 times, so it becomes a 5. If you move it 2 times in the bottom, you must balance it out by moving it 2 times in the top. Your decimal point's at the end. If you move it 2 times, you have to put 2 zeros in. So that becomes 20,000 divided by 5. So if you watch how I do this, 20 divided by 5 is 4, and then I've got 3 noughts to put on. Now you've got number bounds. And the key words here that you're going to listen out for, it will say in the question, measured to the nearest, okay, or something to that effect. And you always do out your number lines first. So my example, if A is 23.1 and B is 25.6, and they're measured to 3 significant figures. Before I read any further, there's my keywords knowing I'm a number bounds. So here's my wee diagram for A, 23.1. The next number up will be 23.2, and the one before it 23.0. And you draw in your wee halfway points. So 23.05, your wee halfway point there, 23.15. I'll do exactly the same for the B number, 25.6. The next one up is 25.7, the one before it's 25.5. Draw in your halfways, 25.55 and 25.65. Now I'll read the rest of the question. I want the minimum of A times B. So the minimum of A times B is the minimum A times the minimum B. So times those two figures together. And the last one, I want the biggest B take away A. So I'm going to take the biggest B and take away the smallest A. So the biggest B take away the smallest A, 2.6.